I'm Jay.
I'm Tony.
Welcome to the Wanted Podcast After Hours edition, where we talk about One Piece theories and other concepts that you guys may or may not enjoy. And we are on episode 4?
Episode 5. Episode 5.
Episode 5. All right, would you like to start us off, Tony?
All right, yes. So, a quick follow-up to our TikToks. A lot of people seem to not be understanding the purpose of them. Is with the casting of the live action, it's not necessarily the actors themselves. And when people say, "Hey, Oda picked these actors," it's like, okay, you think that means I have to necessarily like it? And then again, I think there's one interview where Oda actually states that he really did do this. Hey, if I was Oda and I was offered a bag by Netflix, I'd say anything. Let's be real.
Obviously, yes. We don't have to like the characters that Oda picked. There's something called criticism, right? There's criticism and there's something called opinions, Everyone has their own opinion on it. Some people may not like that Nami's sister is black. Some people do. It's just everyone else's opinion. And we people have to understand that.
Yeah, I think people need to understand that One Piece fans don't necessarily praise every little thing that Oda does. Some people don't like the amount of fan service that there is with the female characters. Some people don't like how Wano felt rushed because they had to get One Piece Film Red advertised and have Shanks at the end of that chapter. There's things people don't like with that. We're not over here meat writing and just gonna praise him for every little thing he does. It's just a little bit of clarification for those TikToks. But yeah, they were funny as fuck, so I don't care.
What is our first topic of the day?
Bad One Piece takes. These takes have no fucking value. And we can pretty much talk about the core ones, the ones that everyone uses. The first one, it's too long.
Oh my god.
Who gives a shit? You know what? The funny thing is, these are the same people that once they finish their series, they're like, man, I wish there was more episodes. But then they got One Piece. It's like, bro, you always have something to watch. If you really think, until you get caught up, you will always have something to watch, something to look forward to.
It'd be the same motherfuckers who rewatch Naruto 5 to 6 times and rewatch the original series and Boruto and be like, One Piece is too long. Motherfucker, you watched Naruto twice, which is 780 episodes by itself.
Now, there's those people. But then here's the thing I think is the biggest problem with people. People are getting way too used to 24 episode seasons that, come pretty fast, come really short, and then that's a whole arc is that season, or maybe 2 arcs are in that season.
Oh, yes.
So people are so used to it just being served to them so fast that with a story like One Piece that, it's been going on for a while, Oda is trying to tell a bigger story. But obviously there's more time to put towards these episodes and that content. And you're just consuming it at a faster rate than what Oda is, giving to his fans to consume One Piece. And if you really think about it, One Piece isn't meant to be consumed chapter by chapter, week by week. It's meant to be consumed with the volumes, but obviously the final way to consume it will be when it's done. That will be the full story. It's not a regular book where it's released and that's the full story for that book. These are comic books. They're not going to be giving you the whole story within 4 books. Some do, but this is One Piece. This is a very ongoing show. I mean, it's going on for a reason. I don't think Oda would continue writing a story if it wasn't selling.
And that's the thing, too. People watch these 25 episode seasons with no depth in it. Bro, there's so many plot holes and there's so many things. If One Piece every arc was 24 episodes, let's say My Hero, there would be so many plot holes through the story, through the lore, and just development as a whole with the characters. Through the episodes, sometimes, yes, it may, not even the episodes, through the manga. Because we're talking about different things here. The anime, yes, sometimes it does have pacing issues, but that's only because they don't want to catch up to the manga. But the manga, the arcs are that long because they have so much things to talk about, so much things that really put in depth of the character. We probably wouldn't have even gotten King's backstory if if these arcs were only 25 episodes long, 25 chapters long.
Yeah, see, yeah, that's the counter argument for it. It's like, oh well, it's long, and then he drags it out. But if you think about it, it's really the assumption comes from Toei themselves, the way they animate. You know, like you said, they're trying not to catch up to the manga, but they also like they kind of have to make a whole episode out of like
A lot of
a bunch
gaps.
of panels. Like there's no animation to it, right? Like that's obvious, but they have to bring those panels to life. So yes, there are times when its pacing is bad, where they have scenes that feel like they drag on. It's really for dramatic effect and to make these scenes feel more alive when you're watching them. But yeah, I can agree with that. One Piece has some pretty bad pacing in terms of the anime. I feel like the manga is fine, but the
Well,
pacing can be bad in the anime. But it's not
let's
awful.
let's talk about this now. The pacing in the anime is 100 times better than it was in the last arc, Whole Cake Island. Wano's pacing, it does have its ups and downs, like Luffy punching Kaido for 3 minutes straight. But the thing is, we barely have that much bad pacing when it comes to important things. People say the pacing is bad, yes, sometimes, but at least it's not bad on the important fights. The
Yeah.
only thing that I'd say was bad was Katakuri versus Luffy, and only because they showed clips of it, like 2 minutes of it, throughout every episode.
Yeah, and I mean, because that's a fight that was a long fight, even in the manga too. Like it wasn't that long, but it was considerably long in terms of reading
Oh
it week by
yes,
week.
and you got to think in anime time too. 2 minutes in anime time is 2 episodes. That was a 10-hour fight. Like that was a 10-hour fight, bro. 2 minutes in anime is like an hour in real time. So yeah, we got to think about that, bro. Because Luffy, he goes gear fourth and he can only last 10 minutes, but he's in that shit for like 4 episodes. Luffy versus Dofi, for example.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's the fact that you just gotta understand that these scenes are supposed to feel important when you're watching them. Like, you may want to watch an episode that's solely dedicated to a fight, but it's nice to be able to catch up with everything, and then you can be hyped up for a small smidget of that fight at the very end. Like that, I mean, that's more of a personal preference thing. I kind of like when we get like a hype moment at the end of an episode. It makes you feel ready for the next episode.
Was it 10:15 with the Red Rock?
It was just Red Rock. That was the end of the episode. That came out of nowhere too. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is just a." My brother said this. He was like, "I thought it was gonna be a filler episode until that happened at the end." Because he only watches the anime, doesn't read the manga. Well, I got him to finally start reading the manga, but before he was like, "Yeah, I thought it was a filler episode," and then till Luffy showed up and the animation changed. I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good episode. It was unexpected and it felt good, and everyone was hyped for One Piece to come back with its next episode."
And we gotta talk about this too, because I was just in an argument in the comment section with somebody. Not an argument, but it just didn't make any sense. And it has to regard Naruto. They was like, "Oh, One Piece fights. They're not as flashy as Naruto. They're not as they don't have any choreography. Their fights are just charging up moves." Man, shut the fuck up. Listen. There's a reason why Naruto's fights are so flashy and so extravagant, with so much choreography. Here, this is 2 words: martial arts. Let me say it again. Martial arts. There's a reason, because Naruto characters, they have ninjutsu, they have martial arts, they have fighting skills. One Piece characters, they don't have that. Not a lot of people have that destructive capability with the martial arts. You feel me? Luffy isn't throwing like roundhouse kicks and shit. He's just throwing gomu gomu pistols and other shit. And people have devil fruits and stuff that they rely on, not just martial arts. And that's the whole point of Naruto having flashier fight, because they are ninjas. One Piece fights are usually based off of destructive capability, like Whitebeard, for example, and Akainu. There are characters that can fight, like Kizaru and fucking what's it called, like hockey users like Sanji. But at the end of the day, destructive capability and destructive power is what's really emphasized in the fights, not the choreography. Yeah, there is choreography, but not as much.
In my opinion, I feel like One Piece fights are more about the clashes rather than
Yes.
the actual, what's going on. And even what's going on is still badass to watch. Like, okay, I will say this. Yes, Naruto fights, they look cool, but they're not better than One Piece fights. I feel like One Piece fights feel a lot more hype when you're watching them. Like, there can be hypes around Naruto fights, like Obito versus Kakashi. That fight was super hyped up, and it looked cool. But they're different, it's an opinion. I just personally feel that One Piece fights get me more hyped up when I'm watching it. And, especially even when you're reading it, it's hype.
Yes. It's because One Piece fights are usually clashes of ideals, and it's usually Luffy's fights. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. Those three fights are usually the main fights of the arcs, right? Those fights are usually based off of how they have progressed, right? They're all every arc. There's always a callback to how they used to be, whether it be subtle or in your face, right? They use them. They sometimes use a move that they used to do back in pre-time skip. It's always a callback on how they used to be.
Sanji versus Queen, he destroys the Jerma suit.
Exactly.
Because he wanted to prove that he didn't need. Not only that did he want to prove that he didn't need it, but he also wanted to prove that he was not going to rely on his family to get things done.
And the thing is, from time and time again, every person that Luffy fights, it's not like he wins automatically. It's not like he gets a power boost automatically. There's people in the world that would dog Luffy in one hit, just like Kaido. And the thing is, Luffy trained. Luffy mastered his haki. Luffy had to learn how to have a level mind when fighting Kaido, how to be cautious, how to be calm, and fully utilize his haki. And that's what people ignore. People be like, "Oh, Luffy got knocked out by the strongest creature in the world, and 1 second later, he has advanced coding." But people don't like to look at how far Luffy has come throughout the whole story up to that point. Luffy getting Conqueror's haki was a step. He always had to conquer his haki, and he always used it. For him to master it and use it in his attacks, that makes much more sense than someone like Sanji just using it out of nowhere, right? Or Jinbei.
Yeah. Even with Luffy versus Rob Lucci dogged him in that fight, but it was Luffy's determination to win. Like that scene where he's about to fall over, but then he catches himself and bends forward, and then he starts screaming, and then he has the flashbacks with Robin, and then he goes and he uses Jet Gatling for the first time. That's how he wins the fight. It's not because he's not like. The thing about Luffy is that he can get beat up all over. He can almost he can get knocked out or almost knocked out. Then it's the way he comes back. It's Naruto kind of suffers from the problem of he just felt like he constantly could just win no matter what. At least in terms of Shippuden. I really enjoyed the original Naruto series when Naruto beat Neji, and it was him proving that he didn't have to be destined to do anything to win. And then we found out in Shippuden that he was destined regardless, and it kind of ruined that whole scene. The Chunin exam arc is probably my favorite, and still is my favorite because it felt important, even though Rock Lee got fucked over in that arc. But regardless, it just kind of sucks how that scene was ruined, because it really felt like Naruto deserved his power, deserved to win, until we found out he had it regardless, and now he's like the chosen one and all that.
I honestly enjoyed Rock Lee losing, because back then they had repercussions for their powers. Rock Lee used the gates, and Garo was still standing a bit, right? He was still able to use his power, but after that, Rock Lee, his all of his bones were basically broken, so he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Naruto, what was I going to say? The thing is with Naruto that I used to like was, it was solely him fighting his battles. A lot of the fights in Shippuden, they're jumping the fuck out of the guy that they're supposed to fight, bro. It's always Naruto and Sasuke, or Naruto and Kakashi, or Naruto and. It's always Naruto and not just Naruto versus. And that's one thing that I didn't really like about the show. I mean, yeah, their fights are cool, but Naruto really needed a lot of help in his fights. And I'm not saying that Luffy doesn't. Luffy fights, I'd say 90% of his battles alone. But, obviously with Kaido, they had Big Mom up there too.
Yeah,
I
there's
get.
that. There was Captain Kuro, when that was like the first biggest enemy he really faced.
And I guarantee that, if Big Mom wasn't up there, they were separated. Luffy wouldn't have went up, but Luffy would have went up there by himself to fight Kaido, and we know that. Luffy always has that determination to fight by himself. He
Not only
always
that, but he only really lets his friends fight by themselves. He'll be like, "Don't intervene." Like with Zoro, he was like, "Nah, just let him have his fight because that's important." He knows that fight was important. But not only that, he mainly didn't want to save Ace because he didn't want to have to make Ace feel like he needed him to save him in that situation until it became like life or death. That's when he finally wanted to do it. But the reason why he wasn't gonna go was because he didn't want to interfere with Ace's adventure.
Exactly, and that's why I like Luffy a bit more than I like Naruto, because Luffy fights his battles alone. Most of them, obviously. There's been fights where Luffy jumped someone like Kaido, but at the end of the day, he still had his one-on-ones with Kaido, and people like to say, "Oh, Kaido
No.
was full."
Even the first time they clashed, it was just him. He saw his whole.
Exactly.
He saw what he thought was his whole crew getting taken out, and he went right after him, like no thoughts about it. He probably even knew that he probably couldn't take him down, but he still went after him.
Yeah, and that's the thing, People like to say that Kaido was full of damage and fatigue and stuff, and yeah, but he said verbatim that he was at his max power when he was in his drunken state against Luffy. So it's not like he was like super fatigued or anything. And I hate when people try to bring up that argument, because that's not the case. Luffy was battling on equal terms with Kaido at that moment.
And then when Kaido starts comparing Luffy to Roger, Whitebeard, Rocks, like when he has that little vision, even that means that he sees him as a worthy opponent, not as someone who has the jump on him, something like that. He just sees him as a worthy fighter. So obviously he would have to be in his he was in a state where he was like, man, I'm so powerful, and he's actually holding his own. Kaido didn't once really feel like he was weaker, during the fight.
And the anime captured this completely perfect, because Kaido was having such a good battle with Luffy and trying so hard. It's like he was like, I haven't felt this way so long. Not even Odin can push me this far. He was having so much fun and having such an exhilarating fight that he hallucinated that Luffy was fighting. And people like to say, "Oh, this is not canon." I mean, Oda approved it. It's in the anime. I mean, there was obviously a gap between the time where Luffy was fighting and there's obviously a gap between when Luffy was fighting and when he fell off the Onigashima, when he got knocked off. And Kaido, I'm pretty sure in the manga, he said basically the same thing. He got too caught up in the fight, and he should have killed him.
That's one of the times that I feel like Toei did better. When they added something to it where it was like, he didn't kill him because he thought himself he was still fighting him because he was so just caught up in that fight.
All right. Let's talk about Monkey D. Dragon now. Luffy's dad. Let's talk about Luffy's dad.
More so, what is his devil fruit? Even though everybody talks about that and everybody says the same thing pretty much.
Wind.
It's
or
the
weather,
fact that
wind.
It's what we can really say what for sure his fruit could be. Well, obviously, wind fruit, because every single time he pops up, he pops out of nowhere, and then there's a gust of wind following behind him. All that, the usual stuff, but that its importance on it, and if it's not even necessarily the win-win fruit, if it could be, its own fruit, possibly even just a fruit that affects the weather.
Oh yeah, a fruit that affects the weather would be OP, and it would fit dragon. Yes, I believe that. So, um, I would personally want it to be something wind related or something in that caliber. Something that's just like a Logia too. Like I want it to be like wind Logia, not just Paramecia, which it probably is a Paramecia, but wind Logia sounds very good.
I mean, here we can say this, and this is a bit of a stretch, kind of. A revolution can be seen as like a moving storm. The dragon's leading
Yes.
that storm. This fruit, it might be a storm-related fruit. Even if it's not like lightning and all that stuff, it could just be like rough winds and things like that. I mean, I think this is kind of a. Well, I could have sworn. Okay, so like in the first opening for One Piece, and when they flash Dragon's face, I think it does look like there is lightning. If I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm
Now that
pretty
I'm
sure.
thinking about it, I think there might be. But yeah, that's essentially, I'm just saying that he controls a storm, which is the revolution, against the old government. That's kind of just like saying things, but still could potentially be that.
Theory, I agree on it.
There is his little tattoo, or even if it is a tattoo or some kind of curse mark that he has on his eye. I know people have talked about it, but I don't think I've ever watched any. So what do you think that could potentially represent? If that's like a branding, or if it actually has something to do with his power or backstory?
I believe that may just be like maybe like a I was going to say like an initiation like an initiation tattoo, but honestly I don't I really don't know. It has to have some significance though, because it's on his face, and it's like it's kind of sort of the same tattoo that the Shandorians have had.
Yeah. I think if anything, it might have something to do with Luffy's mother. Maybe it's her, whatever clan. Maybe it's the mark of the D clan. I mean, for all we can know, it could be something to do with her, if that's like a symbol of her people or whatever. But I mean, it
Yeah,
has some kind of importance. But we'll probably find out about that later on.
yeah. We'll find out about that later on, obviously.
Yeah. So Dragon's Fruit. You said something. I'll let you talk about it with the Skypiea. How it could be correlated to that.
Oh, how it could be his fruit? Oh, yes. The gods of Skypiea. I'm pretty sure it was the wind god, not the wind god, earth god or something. I'm gonna search it up real quick. But there was gods of Skypiea. There was obviously sun god Nika. There's there's the god of the forest, the god of the rain, the god of the earth, and then there's the god of the sun. Now we already found out about sun god Nika, but this holds more, more credibility to this theory, where it's there was four gods, each of different names. Obviously, sun god Nika wasn't physically a sun god; it was just his hair that was fiery, so they called him the sun god. And he can use fire, but that's not his main power focus. Now, the god of the rain, that could be, let's say, the god of the rain, that could be dragon's fruit. That could be something with his, wind or lightning or something, because there's always some sort of elemental aura that he
So do you
has when he's
think
old.
that dragon also has a mythical zone, Hito Hito no Mi?
I believe so.
I mean, that would be pretty interesting. It'd be like a correlation with his son having the kind of fruit. That could.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, we know that there are mythical zones, and there can't just be one god. There's the Buddha Hito Hito no Mi that Sengoku has. So there's
that
more.
could be out of the earth.
Out of the earth. Could.
Yes, the Buddha, god of the earth. That could be something. I mean, because the fruits don't have to correlate with the powers. If you really
Yeah,
think
no,
about
like
it,
Sun God
rubber.
Nika is. Yeah, he can, tap into his okay, he can tap into his imagination essentially. That's not exactly like sun related, He chose to figure out how to emit fire because of Ace.
Yeah, like I believe that there was four gods, right, back in Skypiea, right? The rain, earth, forest, sun. And a long time ago they probably battled against Emu and lost. And Emu killed them and put their souls into like devil fruits or something, like creating like the four mythical Zoans, right? Because we know that Emu backwards means seed, and im means fruit in kanji, Japanese. So like every couple centuries, probably like four people inherited wills, like Joy Boy and like the three others that fought her, and are destined to eat one of these fruits and like join together to defeat Emu or something like that. Last time, like 800 years ago, they fought and lost to her. The final fight will probably be just Luffy and like three others, or just Luffy him by himself versus Emu.
Or actually,
Something
now
like
that you're saying like with Joy Boy, so we know Joy Boy was the last person to have the Nika fruit. And then there's people like Rocks, where some people are saying that is the Yami Yami no Mi. That's his fruit, because as far as we know, there's no. I mean, this could be said for like pretty much all the fruits. There's no really record of previous owners of those fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, the Yami Yami no Mi could be, a Rocks fruit. But then again, why would the world government have that in the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia? If it's one of the strongest fruit, we know it's one of the strongest fruits. But
yes,
that's something we
and
could talk about. Why would they document that?
why would they document the Yami
Yeah.
Yami? Well, I believe devil fruits just, when a person dies, they spawn randomly somewhere in the world where they don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if that's how it works. How did they get Ace's fruit?
They found it, but it's because so the person dies, and then like the essence of the devil fruit travels to a nearby
Yeah.
Fruit of any kind, and it turns into a devil fruit just naturally. We
Yeah,
know that this has some.
natural
We
fruit.
we kind of can infer that this process is something that Blackbeard figured out. This is why he can have two, and also what Caesar Clown was doing on Punk Hazard. But
Whoa.
and then with all the putting zone fruits
Hold on.
into objects, things like that, we know that this process has something to do with it.
Black, if that theory has any credibility to it, this could explain how Blackbeard fucking got his fruit or something. I don't know how he did it, but how he was able to extract this fruit from him, he probably, if devil fruits travel to any like nearby fruit or something growing naturally, he probably like had some like, I don't know, like fresh fruit or something on him, or just like any like fucking, or a tree or something. I don't know. They covered him. Whitebeard's a big ass guy. You never know. It's just
he
like
could just have some food on him anytime, some fruits.
yeah, some fruit or something the transfer it to, but you never know. Maybe it's like you have to eat their heart or something, or cannibalism or
Yeah,
something.
I remember people
Who knows?
saying that like he ate part of Whitebeard, but I don't think so.
I want them to reveal that soon. How devil fruits were able to, how Blackbeard was able to eat another devil fruit, because that is really insane in One Piece lore. Nobody's ever done that before.
That's the thing too. I don't know. We said this a long ass time ago as well. Like they easily could have just said that, like, oh yeah, don't eat too, because then you'll die. But like, how do we know that nobody has tried it before, and then Blackbeard tries it and nothing happens?
Well, I mean, maybe somebody has had to die by eating too.
Yeah, that, and then there's the whole theory with how Blackbeard's Jolly Roger has 3 skulls, and like, oh, he has 3 hearts, so he's like 3 people.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally built different.
Yeah, that's literally
All
what they
right,
said, that he's built different. That's why he's so strong.
what's the next topic you want to discuss?
Let's talk about Luffy versus Naruto. Who really wins that fight, especially right now?
Right now, I think Luffy, man.
It's got to be Luffy. Now, here's the what I can say, or with Gear 5 Toon Force. Yes, Luffy doesn't know that he can literally manipulate anything he wants yet. He doesn't know that that's what he's able to do. His idea of it is that he's just the most free when he does this. So he doesn't know exactly what he can do. It's just whatever he feels like he wants to do, and that will happen. But yeah, that essentially would still mess up Naruto regardless, because he can just, as long as he wants to win, he most likely will.
It's been shown time and time again. Luffy has better speed, better durability, and better precognition than Naruto.
It's really just the
Naruto had,
hockey itself. That's already the winning
yeah,
move, because we know that armament hockey, just like you punch someone with that, they're dead unless they have hockey themselves. Observation, armament to block. They will die. Wasn't they said that like with Ryu you could, their kind of armament hockey, if you punch someone, you transfer the hockey into their body and it explodes them from the insides, and Luffy knows how to do that. So yeah.
let's do this. Let's say Naruto just so happens to know how to damn regenerate his insides, which, plot armor, whatever. Luffy is much faster, like easily faster than Light pre-time skip. He has much better durability, and he has future sight, which can look up to 5 to maybe 10 seconds into the future. I don't understand how Naruto has anything that can combat that. And people like to say chakra equals hockey. No, it doesn't.
No, it's a completely different system.
There's just very much cope. Now, let's go on a limb here and say Naruto and Luffy are the same speed. Luffy's durability is much more than enough to handle Naruto's attack potency. Yes, Naruto has way bigger attack potency than Luffy, better strength, but Luffy has better battle IQ. When the battle IQ doesn't just stand for making out a plan. Battle IQ is in the heat of the moment. Battle IQ. Luffy adapts way faster. Luffy is faster. Luffy has better durability, and he has haki, and he can use it in defense and offense. So I don't see how a Rasengan is going to hurt Luffy's insides, because all he has to do is use ornament hockey on whatever part that Rasengan is going to be hit at.
And people like to say this Baryon mode thing. They cling to that whole Baryon like it's the best thing they've ever found about their MC. And yes, it is a cool thing to have. Naruto, that's a cool aspect to Naruto, but it doesn't take out
2 minutes.
It doesn't take out really a majority of One Piece characters anyway.
Okay, let's talk about this. Baryon mode Naruto is easily faster than Light. Yes, he has faster than Light speed feats and calcs. But the thing is, Baryon mode, from what was said in the manga and the anime, it lasts about 5 minutes. Now, let's take that into consideration. Gear Force Luffy lasts about 15 to 10 minutes. depending on which form he takes. Snake Man, obviously the faster one, or Gear 4th Bound Man. We're just going to use Gear 4th here. We're not even going to use Gear 5th. Gear 4th is much faster than light. It's much faster than light. Like, I'd say 2 times faster than light, and that's low ball. And we're going to put Naruto Baryon mode up against Bound Man. Base Gear 4th. Gear 4th has crazy durability. Like Doflamingo, and this was when Gear 4th first got introduced. Doflamingo's Conqueror's Haki and normal Haki infused attacks couldn't even hit him. It just bounced back, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go into this assumption that Naruto has Baryon mode fully active, infinite chakra or whatever he has in Baryon mode. It's been a while since I've read the Boruto manga, so I'm not very familiar with it as much. But all Luffy realistically has to do is use Future Sight and dodge his moves. Let's go on a limb here. Let's say he has the attack. Let's say he hits Luffy. The only thing he's really going to do is probably drain his life force. But in a real fight, that's not going to do much.
Yeah, it's like people are like to say that he's faster than Luffy when we know that's not true.
We know that's
this
not
attack would take out Luffy though. Like you're implying that Luffy's actually gonna let him hit him. Like Luffy has observation Haki. He's not getting hit.
People like to be like, oh, as I bring this calc up, every time when Luffy dodged the pacifista lasers during the time skip. He literally moved. He dodged them at point blank range too. People like to say, "Oh, the pacifista was a bit in front of him, so he was able to use precognition." But as you can see in the anime and in the manga, he dodged 3 of them by just moving his head.
Yeah, he didn't even flinch; just dodged them straight up. That was it.
And people say, "Oh, he was using observation Haki." All right, let's say he was. You'd still have to move faster than light to dodge it.
But yeah, observation Haki isn't guaranteed you can dodge it. It's just he's
Exactly.
able to dodge it, and it's his observation Haki that helps him do it. Because like an example, we can say like, oh, observation Haki, you're never getting hit. That's obviously not true. Like people that have observation Haki, Enel, Katakuri, Boa, she got taken out by Blackbeard, almost got taken out by Blackbeard. You can still get defeated even if you have it. It's just Luffy himself, the way he does it, he's just ahead of everybody. He's basically always in Gear 2, if you think about it. Like nowadays, he's pretty much always in Gear 2. That's like his base form in terms of speed.
That's just base form in terms of speed, and it's been shown. People like to say, "Oh, Luffy's not faster than light." There's people like Sanji in his Germa suit, which it's been said in the anime, the Germa suits accelerate them. It's been said that in the anime, it's been said in the anime that the suit accelerates them at the speed of light. Now, let's just take that into consideration. Luffy is much faster than Sanji and much stronger than Sanji. Kaido was much faster and stronger than Sanji. Kaido was able to blitz a Gear 4th Luffy easily in the beginning of the arc. So why would Luffy and Sanji be capped at light speed when there's plenty of characters that are faster and stronger than them?
Still, people just it's just cope. That's all we can really say is that it's just cope because their MC can't take out a lot of One Piece characters. Yes, he can take out a few of them, but definitely, I would even go as far as say none of the Straw Hats are getting taken out, man. Maybe. Okay. Obviously, the weaker few, but like our big Straw Hats, none of them are getting taken out.
Yeah, I'd see Sanji maybe having a good fight against Naruto, but Zoro maybe. I don't really. That'll be a good fight. Zoro and Zoro and Naruto would be a good fight. But Luffy right now is pretty higher than Naruto, especially with Gear 5th. People like to throw debunks but they really just don't make sense because they don't know how Luffy's fruit truly works.
That's the thing. They don't watch One Piece, so they don't know.
Yeah, they don't watch it, so they don't really know. But that concludes it. I think Luffy beats Naruto, and I'm not saying that like Luffy just stomps
So
him, because obviously it's
it's
gonna
like
be a pretty
a
close fight.
mid-high diff fight.
Yeah, like high diff fight. It's gonna be a pretty high diff fight. Naruto's very skilled. He has things that can combat Luffy, like shadow clones. He has things that he's fast. He has good attack potency. He has good battle IQ. But it's going to be a hard fight. But Luffy always will come on top.
All right. So our last topic. The big one.
Yes, Nico Olivia is still alive. Now I'm gonna send you some pictures. I'm gonna show you this right now. I'm gonna explain this very quickly. Nico Olivia, they took her. What I believe is they didn't kill off Nico Olivia. They took her and imprisoned her and had her work for the world government. Now, why do I say this? Is because they would need someone, at least one person, to be able to read the poneglyphs. And what other better person than Nico Olivia? It wouldn't make sense for them to kill off everyone. It would make much more sense for them to kill someone. It would make much more sense for them to kill 99% of the people and keep one for their use. And why I say this is, in what was it? Where was this? Water 7. There was boats, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this one too. When Luffy went to go see, I'm sending pictures as well in the chat. When Luffy went to go get some meat, he left Nami and Usopp on the same boat together, and he left. And it was these group of people in masks, right? Around the same time that CP9 was surveying the area, Now, why do I think that these people have significance? Is because Nico Olivia could have been on one of these boats. Now, this might be a bit of a stretch, but with the eyes, Nico Olivia has a bit of a green-whitish iris with blue eyes. This one has green-whitish iris it has a green-whitish outer eye with blue eyes. And the whole facial structure is basically the same. Now, why do I say this? Because every other one, the character Nami and Usopp, it was just showing them passing by, right? It was just showing the boats passing by. But with this one, now this could be, we all know that Oda has these little hints towards like bigger plot holes. Like, let's say, like Skypiea, Sun God Nika. People was like, oh, Sun God, that's just some regular Sun God. Now it turns out that Luffy has Sun God Nika. What's another one? There's the Big Mom and Kaido, or when they first met, they're like, oh, how do they know each other? Now you found out that they was on the Rocks Pirates. They said in the third, God Valley. What else is there? There's plenty of other ones that have these, and I believe this is one of them, because when Nami and Usopp were looking at the boats, they paid attention to this specific one that was in the scene, and they paid attention to it, and it was this one, this singular boat that was just passing by, and it was like a half a minute shot of just this character passing them. And mind you, this was a singular boat. It's one person on it. The other ones had a whole group on it, as you can see in the picture up top. It was just this singular boat that they showed the most. And I believe that might have been Nico Olivia being transported publicly to CP9 or someone else, to the world government that she's working with. Now, it would make much more sense if she's alive because they can use her, Robin's mom, to betray the Straw Hats. And that would basically be the only reason why Robin would probably be willing to betray them. They're waiting on the right time where they're almost at Laugh Tale to reveal that so that the world government can find the One Piece and not Robin, not the Straw Hats. I believe that that's probably one of the reasons why, and because the world government, they don't really know where the poneglyphs are. They're just waiting at this point. They're waiting for a pirate crew to basically just get all the poneglyphs and find out where it is. And it would make much more sense because it would give them, reason to not fight the Yonko, not to fight people that have it. They'll let the pirates do the dirty work, and they'll just skip right to Laugh Tale. That's just a little theory. It's not fully elaborated. It's not fully thought out. Just something I came up with at the moment.
That's a solid theory. I think shit like this whole thing, it works, and that's the most important part. And anything could really happen because we know Oda likes to foreshadow, and he likes to give small hints, but not like super direct. Yeah, it works.
Well, do you want to end it off? You want to end this?
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in to episode 5 of the Wanted Podcast. Talked about a lot, but there's a lot of stuff to unpack. But of course, as always, we'll see you next time.